What's going on, everybody? Funky Cyclist here. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for joining me. Today we're taking a ride from Amsterdam to the town of Breukelen in the Netherlands. Looking forward to this ride. About 15 miles out. See you guys in a little bit. So it is a cloudy day today, but no rain, so happy about that. It's cooler today, but not bad. We'll be taking some of these great and amazing Netherlands bike trails out of the city. It's gonna be interesting to see what the infrastructure is like if you get out of Amsterdam. Obviously, we know in the city of Amsterdam, the infrastructure is amazing. Dedicated bike lanes and shared bike lanes as well. As we get out of the city, let's see what it looks like going into smaller towns and other areas as well. I've been very, very, very fortunate. I've been here in Europe, and every day has been sunny. The first cloudy day, but again, cloudy, cool, but no rain. So we will take that and see how it goes. Today's bike ride starts in Amsterdam South, a really cool area just south of the historic Canal District. From there, we'll head outside the city towards a more rural landscape with quaint towns and important waterways that define the Netherlands. As I started the ride, I was really impressed on how bike lanes are well maintained and how they make travel outside of the city pretty seamless, with uninterrupted paths and countless options to navigate and explore. Roughly a third of the Netherlands lies below sea level, with some areas sitting as low as 7 meters below the waves. This unique geography led to the creation of polders, or tracts of land reclaimed from the sea or lakes, enclosing them in dikes, pumping the water out. To manage the groundwater in these sunk lands, the Dutch created an intricate grid of drainage ditches and canals. These quote-unquote lines of water you see aren't just for aesthetics, they're functional plumbing, constantly moving excess water towards pumping stations and out to larger rivers or the sea to prevent the land from returning to its natural watery state. Right near the Vecht, I was really surprised to see my first Dutch windmill in person. The Broekzijder Molen is a majestic polder mill dating back to 1641. This isn't just a scenic landmark, it's a powerful piece of pre-industrial engineering designed to keep the low-lying polders or tracts of land dry. The mill functions as a massive water pump where the rotating cap is manually turned to face the wind, driving a vertical shaft that powers an internal Archimedes screw. This screw physically lifts water from the lower fields and discharges it into the Vecht, a process that has shaped this landscape for nearly 4 centuries. What made many of these older Dutch mills truly unique is that they were designed to be both a machine and a home. While the gears and shafts occupy the core of the structure, the miller and his family traditionally lived in a room built directly into the middle floors. Seeing the massive sails offer a peaceful and quintessential Dutch moment in our ride, connecting the historical struggle against water to the beautiful modern cycling trails we're enjoying today. In addition to draining polders, the Dutch utilized windmills for a variety of other industrial purposes. These industrial mills were used for everything from grinding mustard seeds and pressing oil to mashing rags for paper production. They even served as a vital communication tool by positioning the sails in specific resting patterns. Millers could signal important news to their neighbors, such as celebration, a time of mourning, or even a warning during times of conflict. Less than a mile or 1.5 kilometers away is the Manger windmill. This is another popular attraction where visitors can actually make a reservation and stay for a few nights. Me personally, I was just happy to see a windmill at all in the countryside. While planning the ride, I was hoping to experience trails in a different atmosphere, so it was a real pleasure to see these iconic machines with amazing engineering. On the right, we have the Amsterdam-Rhine Canal, a site that offers a dramatic contrast to the narrow winding rivers we've seen so far. This 100-meter wide canal was opened in 1952 to replace the older Nyenrode Canal. This is the most heavily used inlet waterway in Europe. It serves as a massive industrial artery stretching 72 kilometers to connect the port of Amsterdam directly to the Rhine River in the heart of Germany. Breukelen was established in the 17th century along a vital trade route of the Vecht River. It served as a wealthy retreat for Amsterdam's elite. Breukelen is also about 14 kilometers or a little less than 9 miles away from the city of Utrecht, one of the most bike-friendly cities in the world. Utrecht is definitely on my list of places to visit when I come back to the Netherlands. Being here is a surreal moment for any traveler familiar with New York or from New York, as this quiet, picturesque village is a direct namesake of Breukelen, New York. Growing up in Brooklyn, I remember learning about the Dutch and their role in the establishment of what would eventually become New York in America. Diving a bit deeper, we see so many names that were derived from the Dutch as they settled in the area, including what we know now as Brooklyn, New York. The Dutch West India Company established New Netherland in the early 1600s. They were the first Europeans to systematically map and name the Hudson Valley. By the time the British arrived, these names were already deeply embedded in land titles, legal documents, and local maps. Changing every single name would have caused massive confusion in property ownership and navigation. Because of this, the English allowed the Dutch to keep many of the original names with the exception of the locations that were hard to pronounce. The exceptions to this were changes from New Amsterdam to New York and Beverwyck to Albany. This was done to honor the Duke of York of Albany, who eventually became King James II of England. These changes were made to symbolize who was actually in charge of the major hubs of power. Even with these changes, smaller locations were allowed to keep their original or adapted names. Compared to Brooklyn, New York, the pace here is much slower, characterized by historic churches, cozy cafes that sit right on the water's edge. A peaceful reminder of the shared history that still links the old world to the new. It has a real chill vibe that really makes bike riding a joy in this area, even with a little bit of traffic. A little bit further down the road here on the right, we have the famous Nyenrode Castle. Originally founded in the 13th century, this Dutch fortress, complete with a protective moat and grand drawbridge, gives it an authentic medieval look. While it was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times through the centuries, its most famous chapter began in 1946 when it transitioned from a private estate into the home of the Nyenrode Business University. Today it stands as the only private university in the Netherlands where students attend lectures in a setting that perfectly blends history and modern-day business concepts. On our way back to Amsterdam, we passed through the town of Abcoude. a hidden gem that feels worlds away from the urban energy of the city of Amsterdam. Abcoude is famous for its historic fort, which is part of the defense line of Amsterdam UNESCO World Heritage Site. Cycling through its center, you notice historic churches and lively squares that host traditional markets. It's a perfect spot for a biking break to grab a nice coffee or something to eat. This ride was truly the best of both worlds. You get to experience the hustle and bustle of the city and the leisurely pace of the countryside with its unreal natural landscapes. The one-of-a-kind Netherlands biking infrastructure is consistent and deliberate, providing a safe and convenient way to explore the country on two wheels. For me, it was a perfect way to end this European cycling holiday. Thank you for watching the last video of this series. Stay tuned for more amazing rides on the way as we return back to the US. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. See you all soon. Be safe and take care.